Welcome in, everybody, to another episode. It's the Good Bit Podcast, and we are back again for another film discussion here one more again on the Good Bit Podcast with something that's we're a little bit impromptu with this week. We weren't expecting to do this film. We were thinking after Inception last week being quite heavy and quite over the top and quite thought-provoking, we would do something a little bit less than that, a bit more easy to watch and relaxing and less stressful. But we took a bit of a U-turn and we thought, you know what we need? We need more stress, we need more tension, and we need more overthinking of films. So we decided to do Shutter Island this week, which is going to be this week's discussion, this week's film of chat. Film of chat? Is that even a phrase? Did I just bring it up there?
It's a phrase now.
It's a phrase now. And yes, we're here for the Good Bit episode number we don't know, and it's all about Shutter Island. Hello again, everyone. My name is Chris. This is Aaron. And we are back once again. How are you feeling this week, my good, close, personal friend?
I feel good, close, and personal to you. We have decided, yes, to do another Leonardo DiCaprio film from 2010.
Because we just loved it so much last week.
I would make the argument that we're doing a little duo of episodes, because they're very. I think there's a lot of parallels between the two films. It's kind of a little Leonardo DiCaprio duo.
Having a dream duo.
What's the word? What am I looking for? Duo. It's like,
I don't know.
Duo? Is that the right?
Yeah, a double header. Yeah, but what we need to do, we need to make it a trilogy.
Yes.
So
what was his next film? Whatever his next film is, that's the.
It might be Wolf of Wall Street. I don't want to do that.
Why don't you?
I've seen it too many times. I think it's a little bit overrated, overhyped.
Yeah, you do think that, don't you?
But I would like to do Titanic. But it's not available anywhere.
It's not available anywhere, and that brings us straight to the point.
To our first point of the podcast. Aaron, please tell the listeners, what is the whole point of this podcast?
The point of podcast is for idiots like us to just vent our bullshit and for no one to listen. That's the point of podcast. But the point of this podcast is more wholesome than that. It's for you at home who like the Good Bit. You're in a small, exclusive club. We love you. We love ourselves. We love everything. Yep. We want you to come on the ride with us. So the point of this series, since we all can't go to the cinema, was to make this. Oh, Chris, you're grimacing. You're throwing me off here. What's wrong?
I just thought I could hear something in the background. I was just seeing.
Are you getting scared? Is it horror movies? Is that?
Listen, we talked about Blair Witch 2 weeks ago, and it's still sitting with me.
It's still sitting with both of us. I think that was a seismic episode. Anyway, what was I saying?
The point of the podcast.
It's about watching at home with us, because we're all stuck at home, most of us, around the world. And
not for much longer, though.
Not for much longer, but cinemas, as you even say, when they open, you're gonna be hesitant. So
you're right.
The fact of the matter is, we're watching films on streaming services. It's a bit confusing as to what's coming out right now and where it's available. Mm-hmm. So watch along with us. Every film we do and have done is available on either Amazon Prime, Netflix, or Disney Plus. So if you have one of them, you can watch along.
Yeah, and then you'll kind of have an idea about what we're talking about. You'll have an idea. Even if you've seen the film before, it'll be fresh in your mind. You know.
Yeah, it's a film club. The Good Bit
is a film club. It is absolutely a movie club. Yes, agreed with that. So like sometimes we'll have films that we want to do. Like I'm really itching to do Titanic. I'm sure Aaron wants to do some mad French film from 1947. But if they're not available on Amazon, Netflix, or Disney Plus, then we're not going to do it. So hopefully one day they will become available on one of those streaming services. We'll put it up on the Good Bit and we'll watch along with the listeners and each other. And then at some point we're going to watch films together whenever that's safe.
A proper film club.
A proper film club with popcorn and snacks.
You at home are invited. You've won a special ticket to come see the Good Bit live in Los Angeles. You'll sit with Chris and Aaron on the sofa and you will watch a movie. God.
I'd love to go to Los Angeles and watch a movie.
We're going to go to Los Angeles and watch a movie in 2022, and you know it's going to happen.
We're going to get cast in a film.
Yes, but we're also just going to go there. We're just going to go there, Chris. We're just going to tell you what, that would get views.
That would.
YouTube podcast. We're just like, today's challenge is we're going to buy a plane ticket to Los Angeles and go there for 2 days and watch a film in a cinema at the Cinerama Dome.
And
that's that. That's
and then
it.
And then just come back.
Come back.
Come back and do another episode from Zoom. We're not even using Zoom. Why did I say Zoom?
So that episode of The Good Bit is going to be we're sitting in your shag pad and your little.
Whoa!
What's your room? Your special room.
Well, when I was younger, it was made for us to have our toys in, so we called it the playroom. But we're too old for the playroom now. I like to refer to it as the office.
We're in the Good Bit office.
Yes.
And we go, right, let's go watch a film. Just like the old days.
Yes.
So we fly to Los Angeles, go to the Cinerama Dome, watch a film, don't speak about it, fly back, don't speak out of the plane, we'll have a sleep. Don't speak about it. Get all the way back to Good Bit HQ, don't sleep, and do a podcast.
Yes.
And finally vent.
We'll feel a little bit tired probably and jet lagged.
We could not speak about the entire trip. So the entire time we're
Good
there,
idea.
the entire time we're watching the film, the entire time back, we don't speak about this trip. We just talk about, we try and give ourselves other subjects. Like we'll discuss Inception on the way back.
Right, okay.
We won't talk about the trip.
Plenty to talk about.
Finally, when we get in front of the mics, in the Good Bit office, we'll talk.
Sounds good. I like that. LA might be a bit of a stretch. So let's do
Paris.
London. Yeah, Paris. Yeah.
Paris. Let's watch a French film. In French, just not understand it.
Midnight in Paris. I started learning Spanish last night.
How's it going?
I've only done it one night. I'm going to do 5 minutes a day until I get more confident. Then I'll do 10 minutes a day. This is on Duolingo. And listen, I downloaded the app about when I was still in college, actually. And ever since that day, I've been going to start learning a language. Never have until now.
Why Spanish?
I just think it's a popular one. Could come in handy.
Gotta have a better reason than that.
Yeah, well, my sister's doing French at uni. So I was thinking I'll learn Spanish. So then we're kind of safe if we go out anywhere. Because everywhere speaks either French or Spanish.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás? So what have I learned so far? I've learned I am a woman, which is la soy el mayor. That's I am a woman.
Okay.
I am a man is el soy el hombre.
Hombre.
Sounds a bit French, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been learning French. Don't know
well, your girlfriend is like fluent in French.
Ouais, elle parle très bien français. Huh?
You've been learning French for 3 years.
No, I think I said anyway, she speaks very good French.
Where did I get 3 years from?
I don't know where you got. I think très. Very. Yeah, très. 1, 2, 3. That's 3.
It's like in Steve Martin's Pink Panther when he's reading out the phone number on the phone and he's like, call me at this number at 1, 2, 3. 14 cans. We will watch that film very soon. Yeah, I was doing some good bit PR this week.
Good bit PR is always essential. As
an actor, you know, it's vital to take some, you know, quick paydays here and there. You know, anytime you get a little bit of work, jump at it. You know, so I was in contact with our old college the college that we met, and the college in which we met.
The college that met us.
Yes, on the same day as we met each other. And I was speaking to...
I was late. I was slow.
You were late, yeah, that's right. And I needed a partner to do an acting, to do like hot seating or something, and then you were the last one there.
Who's this guy with specs who's got this weird accent that I've never heard before, talking about Jaws as his favourite film? What an arse. And then we became friends after that.
Yeah, we did become friends. Did you think I had a weird accent when we first met?
Yeah. I thought it was... I'd never heard something like that, because I'd heard...
What?
Yeah, I'd heard the typical Glaswegian, very strong Glasgow accent, but I'd never heard this sort of different different, I don't know, Glasgow accent, the kind of that you have. I'd never heard that, really.
Interesting. I think I've got quite I hate you. Obviously, we've talked about this before. There's no such thing as like a general American accent or a general English accent. You know what I mean? But I think I have quite a general Scottish accent. I think I could be from numerous places.
Yeah, probably. But it definitely
could be from places. I've taken bits from different accents and created my own.
Yeah.
You know?
Mine's shit. I don't like my accent.
No. Listen, it's not about accents here. It's about voices, and we've both been told on different occasions we're both good voices.
Yeah.
Probably just from each other, though.
I know. Chris, you got a good voice. You got a good voice too. Well, then we're fine.
We're good. We must have good voices.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I was in contact with Ian, who had been on the podcast before and stuff, and his wife Amanda's been doing classes as well, but all classes are on Zoom just now, obviously, because of safety reasons. And I was on a call to Ian, and Amanda jumped on, and she's like, I'm running out of things to talk about to the class on Zoom if you want to come into the class and speak to the HNDs, and just a wee like Q&A, like what was it like being in college and life after college and the process of getting to do the degree and things like that. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. So jumped on the call on Zoom last Thursday, and it was weird. It was weird being like in front of people. I knew a couple of them. I'd never met a lot of them, and Amanda was talking as if I was some sort of big deal. Where really, I've just left the college a couple of years ago, and like they were asking me questions and stuff, which was really nice. Everyone was really nice and welcoming and asking lots of good questions and stuff, and I was doing my best to answer them. And of course, then Amanda brought up the podcast. And I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, there's no point. I'm not here to promote myself. But she was like, well, just talk about things you've been doing since you've been leaving. And of course, you've been doing the podcast. And I was like, right, well, here comes the story. And I told the whole class, like, okay, well, when I was in first year, I decided to get an unlimited card to Cineworld. And I talked to my friend Aaron into getting one with me. And we went to the cinema together and we saw Bunt. And then
there, that's the accent. What the hell is that?
Bunt. And then we... And then we decided to start a podcast sitting in the costume cupboard, and we recorded the first episode about Batman vs Superman. I told her the whole story. And then I just swiftly moved on to my next point. And then someone put their hand up and I was like, yes, ask a question. And they were like, what's your podcast called? Where can we access it? Is it on Spotify? And I was like, great questions. Yes, it is. So I was dishing out, and then like contacts I had within the class. After I'd left the call, I was like, I sent them the links, and I was like, put the links of the podcast in the group chat for me. So they put it in the group chat, and hopefully we got a few more listeners last week because of that. So
that is brilliant. That's the best kind of PR. So yeah. I guess you should say hello.
Welcome to our new listeners, and thank you. If you were in that class, I hope you enjoyed that day.
I bet Chris was a brilliant guest speaker.
What do you make of my accent? Aaron thinks it's weird.
It's not weird. It's just something that a sheltered boy from Perth never hears before he moves to...
I'll tell you what, though. My accent has absolutely changed over the years, and it's the voice I have now is my voice, and this is going to be my voice for the rest of my life. I know that because it's just,
oh wow, you know that,
But when we were in college together and stuff, it was like ever changing, and even sometimes still, we always do this, right? You're on the phone, you put on a phone voice, you're speaking to like a boss, you speak differently to your boss, and you're speaking to your mates. You're recording, you speak a little bit differently than what you would do in person. But mine was quite strong in terms of the way I would change. And people would always say to me, your voice always changes when you're around Aaron because he's from Perth and you've got quite a strong accent and stuff. And I would also sometimes like change the way I would, not even by like on purpose, I would just do it, just subconsciously, just because I was around you. And like being in college and stuff, listening back to old vlogs that I've done from like 2016, I'm like, that's not even what I sound like anymore. Like, what was I doing with my voice there? But it's just like taking wee bits and finding your voice.
I get that. I definitely speak different around you. Well, maybe not. Well, definitely around mates that live in Glasgow. I think I don't know. You just get comfortable, and we're all from Scotland. It's all in us. I don't know. Things become more natural, and because of that, I know this is not my voice for life, because I don't think I'll be living in Scotland or England my entire life.
Really? Okay.
And I've lived in England, obviously, for 4 or 5 years. And my accent hasn't changed because I don't, no offense, lots of my best friends are English, live there. I don't like the English accent. Certainly don't like the southern, but it's not like I don't like it, but
it's just not you.
It doesn't go into my body. It doesn't,
right.
I don't imitate it. I sort of imitate it in a sort of jokey way, but I don't genuinely start to take it on. So my voice is still pretty Scottish, if not a little bit neutral. But it's definitely not English, and it's not.
I don't think your voice has ever changed since I've known you.
Probably not. I don't know.
Maybe it has. I've just not noticed because we speak regularly.
We do. But I think if I moved to America, because of the nature of my voice and the way I have rhotic R's, and I like the American accent, honestly. I think my voice would change a lot within a couple of years of, for instance, living in
You
America.
just did it there. You just said a couple of years. We're going to change it a couple of years.
Listen, I and my my auntie, my dad's twin sister, lives in Los Angeles and has done for many, many years. And she's completely American. She's not got a hint of Scottish in her voice.
Wow. I mean, look at John Barrowman. He's from Scottish. That's good English. He's from Scotland, and then he's away over there, and he's full American. But then when he does talk shows in Scotland, he speaks in a Scottish accent.
No, that I'm cynical about. What? No. What I'm talking about, listen. What I'm talking about is a subtle shift in my genuine and your genuine way of speaking.
Right.
So like, I could come back from America and just be a little bit weird. But what he does is this weird, cynical thing that Scottish celebrities do. When they're back in Scotland, they like put on a real Scottish accent because they're with the people again, when really their natural accent is American or something else.
But do you know, I think it's like a hint of home though. Like they're able to let their guard down a little bit because they're talking to someone from Scotland.
I wish that it was like that, but I don't. It's just attention, isn't it? It's just like, oh, I can be both. I can be Scottish.
Right.
I'm John Barrowman. I'm in Scotland now, and then I'm John Barrowman going to go and act and be proper. It's like, oh, come on. What's your real voice?
I do think it's interesting though, because I've never, like, unless I'm doing an accent for a show, like put on an accent. So this is now my new voice because this is how I want to speak. You know what I mean? It's just always been natural. And now I think I've got quite a like refined voice. Whereas like throughout time, it's always been changing, depending on who I'm around and who I speak to and stuff. So yeah, I wonder if it will change. I did say this is my voice for life, but I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. I don't know.
I know you're quite comfortable. You have got a quite refined voice. I'd describe that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was your voice life.
But like back in the day, if I was having to speak to an American person, I would make a big effort because I would be paranoid that they couldn't understand me because I thought my accent was really strong. Whereas now I feel like if I could speak to someone from anywhere in the world, they'd be fine. I just obviously have to slow down and
you're a quick boy. You're a quick boy.
I'm a quick speaker. I was like my feedback day one of acting college, and it's still a thing.
Slow down, Chris.
What was I going to say? Yes, we're going to talk about this tier system. So we're talking about the kitchen the past few weeks, talking about like putting a film. It's like a ranking system for the films we're talking about. So some is going to be in the fridge, some of them are going to be in the George Foreman grill, some of them are going to be on the kitchen table, some of them are going to be in the bin. And sometimes, very rarely though, if we find films that just change us, it's going to be in the freezer, so they're preserved for life. Not that it gets confusing, but sometimes you see these things online like tier systems and ranking systems that are like official. Like grading like A, B, and C and stuff like that. So Aaron has had a go this week at ranking the films again. How did you get on?
Good. I just copied and pasted from what we'd said in the
I didn't start from scratch.
I didn't take my own liberties and just change it all and put Last Jedi in the bin where it belongs. No, I made a tier system
Cheap
list.
Shot there, when I was drinking, I couldn't defend myself there.
So you didn't make the film. You're fine.
No, I know.
It's not your fault. So you at home can do your own good bit kitchen ranking list if we give them the link, which we shall do.
Yes.
But we're also going to make a wee YouTube video where we introduce the tier system. We're gonna add to it as we do podcasts and just to make it a little bit more clear. This new good bit kitchen.
So when it comes to the videos, because obviously every week there's going to be a new film added to the system.
Yeah.
Does that mean we do a video every week?
No.
Or a video every month and just add the new ones?
Yeah. Maybe every month. Yes, we've got 4 new ones to add. I like that.
Maybe we don't rank them on the show. We do them in the video every month.
That's a good idea.
Like, where are we doing this? You know, where are we putting this one? Instead of like finishing on it, because sometimes you need to let it sit for a bit, you know.
What we could do is start doing, if this video goes well, we could start doing, this is always what ends up happening on this podcast. We end up having sort of like brainstorming sessions,
production meetings,
the ideas of it. Probably not interesting, but what we should do we could start doing videos with the tier system, screen recording, and us commentating about. We could have a section of old Good Bit films. So complete the Good Bit archive. Like we could go through the whole episodes and go, this week we're going to rank 5 films that we've reviewed previously on the Good Bit and find out where we've got them in our kitchen. For example, like, I don't know, Midnight, what was that?
Midnight Special.
Midnight Special, you know, something like that, you know what I mean?
What were the first few? The first ones were, right, Batman vs Superman was number 1, then it was Midnight Special, then I believe it was Jungle Book, the remake, then I know it was Captain America Civil War, and then I believe it was Hell or High Water. Do you remember that film?
I do remember that film very well. Well, not very well, but
I think those were like the first 5 like individual films that we dedicated episodes to.
Oh, we could do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That was sheer memory, by the way. That's pretty impressive.
That's good. But I also like speaking about it on the podcast, so I don't know.
We'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens.
We'll continue speaking about it on the podcast for now, but if these videos work out, we can shift.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong answer here. We're in charge, really.
We're in charge. We're the boss, you know what I mean?
We're in charge, as Chris would say for Glasgow. Right. Let's chat about some more Leonardo DiCaprio dreams in films.
Yes.
With our first of season 2, our first Martin Scorsese film.
It is indeed.
Now, this was impromptu, as I said. This was not like, let's do Shutter Island. Aaron just happened to watch it, text me and say, this may be something that we could talk about. And I was like, let's do it this week. Why did you watch Shutter Island?
Because I'd just watched Inception for the podcast and really liked it. And Shutter Island came up on my recommended on Netflix, I guess. It's Netflix.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, 2010, DiCaprio. I want to watch that." It wasn't for the podcast, but I was like, I don't know.
That's good, and that's proof and evidence that this podcast is working in our mission to get us back into that kind of artsy mood.
It's been an uphill struggle, but I think I'm there. Because subsequently, after watching Shutter Island, obviously we'll talk about it, but it has references to the Second World War.
Yeah.
And those were really mad sequences that really got me like obsessed with like that aspect of like the war. So then last night I go watch Saving Private Ryan for the first time.
That's on my list too.
Well, maybe
we'll do it next week.
I won't talk about it then.
Wait, what's that on? Is that on Netflix as well?
Yeah. So I watched Saving Private Ryan for the first time because I was like, war, let's go. And then and now I'm watching a World War II documentary. It's got me rolling. I've gone all the way from Inception to World War II in color.
Well, that series on Netflix, World War II in color, really interesting. Really interesting series. I've not watched the full thing, but it's one of those shows. I don't know why. Something about like old footage. I talked about this with Blair Witch. Something about old footage that isn't like made as a film or a documentary, like shot on a camera at a different period of time is interesting to me. So things like that are really interesting. Listen, if you want to do Saving Private Ryan next week, I'm more than happy for that because we've not watched this like next week's film yet. Or we can take a break from the heavy stuff if it's a bit heavy.
Well, I've already watched it, so it's up to you. Do you know what I mean?
But would you be able to talk about it even though it's been a couple of days and by that time we record it'll be a whole week?
Yeah. Why not?
Or you want to do something different?
Refresh myself. I mean, I can also watch another film before then. So, and you haven't had a choice in a while, so
I haven't. Yes.
If you pick a film, you can pick a film. We'll watch it, and if you also have time to watch Saving Private Ryan, we can do a double whammy. Get more in the bank.
Okay, sounds good. Okay,
I won't go too much into it in case we do an episode on it. But anyway, yes, that's why I watched Shutter Island because we watched Inception.
So sometimes we just have busy weeks. I had a busy week last week. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to record 2 episodes, watch 2 films. We're going to do a double whammy today, or actually on Sunday. But just things kept getting in the way. I had work to do and I had deadlines to meet. And I've actually got quite an open week this week, but it just so happened I had deadlines for last week. So it's funny how one week's really busy and then this week's quite open. So I guess I will have time to watch 2 films this week. And I knew Shutter Island was long. You know what I mean? So I was like, right, I need to sit down and watch it. Plus, my mum and dad asked if we could do a quiz on Saturday night. So I was like, right, okay, we'll do a quiz since it's like still lockdown and stuff. So I was in charge of making the quiz this week. So I made the quiz. I had to do that. So the plan was get all work done and stuff like that. Saturday night, I'll watch Shutter Island, record on Sunday. And then I forgot about the quiz. Also, this past Sunday was Disney Plus Day, which is the 1 year anniversary of us getting Disney Plus, which was late March 2020. Right. And we said on that day in 2020, every Disney Plus Day, we have to watch a Disney film for the rest of the time till we no longer have Disney Plus. So
this is why I'm confused all the time when you're like, I'm busy. I've got so much on this week. I'm like, what the hell can you have on? I know you've got work, but it's a lockdown. And now I get it. Because you're Chris. And you go, well, because every second Sunday I need to watch a Disney film because it's 1 year anniversary since the Disney Day, and I've got to watch the quiz, and I've got to go for my walk, and I've got to do my walk, and I've got to go to the after, and I've got to have lunch with my mom. I've got to do those things. I'm busy.
I don't know what a day off is. Because those things I don't see as like luxuries.
There's never a day off for you. If you are in your brain, it's like, well, you've got to do that. I get it now.
Oh God!
When you're like, I was like, I'm so busy last week. Anyway, because it was Disney Plus Day, and I was like, hell, it's Disney Plus Day. Oh, no, because we said every year on March of fucking.
But you have to understand, these are things that happen like once a year, and this would have been the first year though. Because we made the tradition last year, and if we had missed it on the first year, that's the tradition ruined it by the start.
No, I get it, but...
Oh, God. Well, listen, I was going to do it. The plan was watch a Disney film and then watch Shutter Island, but I had this quiz to do.
Yeah.
Listen, some people treat watching Disney films and creating quizzes and going walks as nice things. To me, that's just part of the schedule.
What's the nice things? What's the nice bit?
Sitting doing nothing. I don't know.
It's not scheduled for you because films are scheduled, TV is scheduled, eating is scheduled, quizzes are scheduled, editing is scheduled, podcasting is scheduled.
Going for a walk.
Walk is scheduled. So what is?
Listen, I'm not scheduled. I don't have like at 9 o'clock. I do this. It's just I want to do it in the day at some point. What is not scheduled? Like just after dinner, just chilling, like having a cup of tea or something, watching the TV for a bit.
Nice.
But it only lasts about half an hour. Then I need to go do something.
Listen, it's how you get by. I like it.
It was Disney Plus Day. So I said to my sister, right, okay, you can pick the Disney film. So she picked The Little Mermaid. We watched and it was great. No, it was great. Happy to watch it. I hadn't seen it since I was a young boy. Really enjoyed it. The songs were great. And it's only on for an hour and 20 or something, so it was really easy to watch.
Love that.
So I watched Little Mermaid, and I was like, now for something completely different, let's watch Shutter Island. And I got an hour in, and then it was time for the quiz. Now, this is Saturday night, and we're recording Sunday. You know? So I was like, what is going to happen here? So I said, right, okay, I'll just watch Shutter Island after the quiz. One thing leads to another. You start chatting, you listen to music and stuff. But I was like, everyone will go to bed. It will just be me that's up. I'll watch it. This past Sunday, the clocks went forward. So not only could I have started watching it at 1 o'clock in the morning and it would have been fine, it would have been finished by 2:30, which is a fine time. By the time it got to 1 o'clock, it was already 2 o'clock.
Nightmare.
So, I mean, I lost an hour. So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to watch this film? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll watch it in the morning. Now, Leanne said last week with the Inception episode that she watched Inception first thing in the morning and it wasn't great first start of the day viewing.
She had some positives though, getting up and watching a film.
I can confirm Shutter Island is also not a very good morning programme.
Is it not? No.
It's a bit heavy and it's a bit dark and it's all about, is he dreaming? And then you realise he's not dreaming and he actually is dreaming because he's a psychiatric patient and it's just a bit whoa, and he's seeing dead children there and it's actually his children, and then his wife drowns his weddings and it's just and he's breaking down and it's a bit heavy for first thing on a Sunday morning.
Right.
So that's
you watched
it
on a Sunday morning, did you?
So I watched it on a Sunday morning and I didn't even have to because we didn't even record on Sunday. I could have watched it Sunday night. But the plan was recording on Sunday. And I'll tell you something, man. Listen, it's a really good film. And as I was watching it, I was like, I don't know if I'm liking this. Like, it just is a bit too slow and dark and God. But then I was like, That's kind of the point. It's also I had to take into account like the experience, like it's first thing on a Sunday morning, and then by the time it finished, you'd seen the whole thing, and you go, "That was a really good film." Lots to take in, lots to digest, and we've talked about DiCaprio before. He's just amazing and everything. So, yeah, those are my views. Join us next time.
Thanks, everyone. That was a Good Bit podcast with Chris and Aaron. We're live on Heartland FM next week, where we'll be joined by the lovely and ever dapper Ian Grieve. We're going to be discussing My Little Pony, Tiggle Wiggle's Big Adventure. We're also going to be reviewing the new Apple iPhone 27.
Do you want me to say it to Ian for next week?
Why don't we do a ridiculous film with Ian? I'd love to do that. I'd love to do something that Ian Grieve would never dare watch. And we should review that with Ian.
I don't know if that thing exists because he's just watched the whole Twilight saga on his own.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Maybe, but I was saying to you as well in text, we need to get Andrew Marley on. Because I was working with him this week and we were talking about he was with me on that college thing. And we started talking about the podcast and he was like, 5 years and he's still not asked me on. He said that in front of the whole class. I was like, I know. And Andrew Marley's got a good voice.
Andrew Marley's got a good voice. He's got a lot to say. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he's a good guy.
He's still as good of a guy as he was before.
He gave me a large portion of his sticky toffee pudding once, and I'll never forget it.
He used to give me lifts home quite often, and I'll never forget that.
I was... Did he drive?
Yes.
I
got in his car nearly every day.
Right, well, it really did strike me, though. We were in a Wetherspoons, me and Andrew Marley. We had a right day on the town once because we were rehearsing DNA, the classic play, with a classic cast. It was a classic production.
Who directed or who wrote DNA?
Who wrote
Dennis
DNA?
Kelly?
Yep. I'll say no more. We were rehearsing DNA, and we had a day off, us two, I think, because the rest of the cast were in and we weren't in or something.
It was just you and Andy?
It was me and Andy. And he was telling me he'd not been to the cinema in like 10 years.
That's right, I remember that.
I was like, you need to probably go to the cinema.
You're an actor.
You're an actor. So I took him to the cinema. Well, we went to Spoons first.
Right.
The old Falcon. What was it called?
The Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Not the Falcon.
Oh, I don't even remember. Jesus.
The Millennium Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon. And I remember he had a great sticky toffee pudding. I opted not to get dessert. He opted to get dessert. And I was like, boy, that looks good. And he said, have a bit. And I was like, no, it's yours. He was like, listen, what's mine is yours. And he was so authentic with when he said that.
At that moment, you bonded and that was that.
I like this guy a lot. And then we went and saw Florence Foster Jenkins with Meryl Streep. We're balling our eyes out.
He was absolutely buzzing after it.
We loved it. We had an absolute... That was a brilliant experience.
I love these wee stories. I mean, it's probably because I know the both of you, but like, I wonder how they are to the untrained ear. However, I would like you to tell the stories about you and I meeting because I love the wee anecdotes and that. So you came in late, right? And we started doing this thing.
Oh,
what was the activity we were doing?
Oh, when I met Chris, yes. Well, I just jet setted from Greece because I had a prior engagement with in a Greek island. I was filming this feature film, and so I had to,
That's right, Faliraki, is it?
I was in Faliraki.
I just remember, I've never heard that. Up until you said that, I'd never heard that word before.
Yeah.
Never mind, heard of the place. And just every time I hear Faliraki, I hear it in your accent. Back to this again.
Faliraki. So I'd come back from Faliraki, and I was a week late for my course because I didn't confirm that I'd be going until quite late on. And so I had this holiday booked. Let me off the hook, all right?
Yeah. Happened to me as well with New York one time.
Exactly. These things happen. Yeah. So I came a week late to a new course with new people. My first year out of school. That was tough.
I can imagine you were really nervous.
I was nervous coming to that room, and I was even late for I was late for the actual day because all the trains from Motherwell had stopped, and I had to get a taxi. Like, it was a nightmare. And I finally got into the room where Fran was teaching everyone.
Myself included.
Myself, Chris was there. They were talking about your favorite films That was the subject of discussion. And I sat down next to Chris, and we were going around everyone, and he blurts straight out, he goes, Jaws, my favourite film. It's just fucking brilliant. Jaws, Spielberg.
That's not a good impression of me at all.
Spielberg, it's Jaws. It's fucking brilliant. That's more like Fran, isn't it? Yeah. God. And I was like, Jaws, your favourite film? I am sophisticated. I've just come from Faliraki. My favourite film is Birdman. Eat that. And everyone was like, oh.
That's right. Birdman, that's right. You should have said something like Revenge of the Sith or something. You would have gained a lot more respect.
Yeah, I probably should have said, Avengers Assemble or some shit.
Yeah. Anyway, tell me about Shutter Island. What did you think?
Oh, I hated it. Next on the week on The Good Bit. This episode's a fucking mess, isn't it? We're fucking 37 minutes in. We've barely talked about the film.
I spent more time about me talking about me watching the film rather than what I thought of it.
I loved it.
Right, good.
I did not watch it on a Sunday morning. I watched it on an evening. And it was just me because Anna had seen it before. And so it was just me and the screen and Scorsese and DiCaprio watching something for the first time. And that is special. It was
just me and Scorsese watching it together.
Yes. Scorsese came round and yeah, I loved it. Totally did not see the twist coming.
Oh God! Yeah, I knew a twist was coming. I didn't expect that one though.
I didn't know it was going to be. The whole film was going to be about mental illness. I think it did an incredible job of just sort of screwing you up to the point where you see the film through DiCaprio's eyes because he's the main character. And of course, spoiler alert, you should watch these films before we talk about them. He is the patient. He's not the hero. He is the most fucked up of them all. And so the twist when his reality is unraveling around him, you are put in his position. You feel mental because you're going, no, you came here and you are the cop. Don't listen to them. You need to fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
And you're completely on his side. And so you feel this sort of tension between reality and his delusions. Like it puts you right in the midst of it, of sort of schizophrenic episodes. Like really clever, really freaky.
Really clever and actually really well done. And I was actually thinking that as well. I don't think I've seen many DiCaprio films where he's like this good guy cop. You know what I mean? Like that's like a general kind of role that he doesn't play.
I was thinking, sort of halfway through the film, I was like, I know it's Scorsese, but DiCaprio at this point in his career, 2010, is he just playing the straight guy cop who's here to figure shit out? I was
the hero that maybe just narrowly escapes.
I was like, no, surely not. Surely there's something about him. And I was also thinking the casting was terrible because I was like, Mark Ruffalo, he's too old to be his new apprentice. Like,
doesn't know anything. I never even thought of that until you said it there.
But then, of course, it all makes sense in the end.
Yeah,
but
listen, Mark Ruffalo, great performance too. Really good
performance.
Really good. I think he's actually quite underrated now you think about it. He's known as the Hulk when actually he's one of the better parts of those later Avengers films. I know you've not really seen them, but he's great.
I really love the way he delivers lines. I think he had a small stroke when he was younger, and so the part of his mouth doesn't quite move with the rest of it. He's got a bit of a droopy lip. Unfortunate that he had a stroke. I don't know the circumstances around that, but I think it just makes him, the way he delivers lines, like really, really interesting and really watchable. I can't stop watching him.
He is very watchable. Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
No, I have not.
Oh man, we need to do that for the show. That's a great one. You'll like that one. Similar to this, kinda.
Oh, you can't say that.
I know, I shouldn't say that. But he's also in that as a kind of smaller role. He's very watchable. He's really good in that too. Yes, agreed with that whole thing and the whole twist as well. As I say, I knew a twist was coming. I was just expecting it to be like, he's there and maybe slowly becomes the patient because Ben Kingsley's character, really good evil guy that is actually just in charge of the care home, and with like the Rachel Salondo and like his ex, and it's not his ex-wife, his now dead wife, like all of them just. It looked as if he was having problems in terms of like having flashbacks and dealing with things and like demons in his head and stuff. And I thought all those flashbacks and stuff would lead him to be the patient. I thought that was going to be the twist, and it turns out it wasn't. He's just been the patient all along. But what was it they were saying? Like they let him play it out so he would realize himself. Is that what they were going for?
Yeah, and then I think Scorsese said something at the time like it's going to make double the profit because people are going to have to go see it twice at the cinema. And it was right, because it does make you want to watch it again because, but obviously now you can sort of just watch sort of video essays on YouTube. And
you can watch bits of it, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I did that, and it's like there's so many clues throughout the film as to that there is just a sort of weird role play and that he is the real, like from the moment he gets on the island and all the cops have got their guns out and he's like, why are men so edgy, Marshall? It's like, they're just, everyone's edgy. It's like they're edgy because it's him.
And then they need to hand over their guns.
And Mark Ruffalo is not very good at handing it over. Have you seen, like, he
of course
struggles a bit. And that's because he's not a cop.
Oh, wow. I just clicked with me there. I thought you were meaning he didn't want to give up because he should have one just in case Leo goes nuts.
Doesn't know how to take it off.
Very clever. Very clever.
When they interrogate the patients, the other patients, and they're saying, sorry, it's been a few days since I've watched the film. What is his name? What is DiCaprio's real name? Do you know what I mean? Because he's got
his real name is Laeddis.
Andrew Laeddis. He's like, do you know an Andrew Laeddis? Where is he? And of course, the patients know that it's him.
Right.
And so the woman, when she says Andrew Laeddis, she starts to cry and like go like, I don't know him. And she's doing that because it's him. And she doesn't know what to say.
And the woman writes the run on a bit of paper to tell him like you're getting worked here.
Well, she's saying run because she's mental as well. And so she's saying, you're a patient. Yeah. You've got a chance to get out. Run. Yeah. He doesn't know he's a patient.
No. It's good, though. It's a good film. Very well done. What did you make of Ben Kingsley then? Being like... I was expecting him to end up being like a real bad bastard. Like, and then like he was purposely brainwashing him and stuff. But it turns out that he's actually just looking after him, really.
He did a great job of towing that line. Because, you do kind of think... He presents himself as a likable English, head of this facility, but at the same time he splashes his performance with sort of hints of, what he doesn't, what's going on with him.
He doesn't really care and things like that.
You obviously assume that it's because he's got an evil mastermind. He's the evil mastermind behind this grand plan to, get DiCaprio there. But no, I don't think I've seen Ben Kingsley in very much at all.
No, he was good. What about Jackie Earle Haley, who played George Noyce, the guy in the cell with like he'd been attacked or whatever, and Leo was over shouting at him and stuff, and he kept saying, "You did this," thinking, "What do you mean?" Like, and he's calling him Laeddis and stuff. He's like, "What do you mean I did this?" As if like he's responsible for it, but actually he did do that because he's dangerous and he got into this altercation and stuff.
And he's saying to him, clever. "This is a game. This is a game. There's no investigation. It's all for you." And DiCaprio's like, "What? No."
He's like telling him, and he's telling us as the viewers as well.
Us, but we don't hear it. We don't believe it.
Yeah, we don't believe it. We're on Leo's side. Very, very clever. And then Michelle Williams is Dolores, his wife. I didn't even know it was Michelle Williams. She's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's great. She always, every time I see her now, I just think of Manchester by the Sea. Remember that film?
Oh yeah,
that was a sad one.
That film was a bit much for me. That was a bit. God, Manchester by the Sea. I remember that film. But
very well acted. Very, very, very well acted.
Very well acted. But Jesus, like there comes a point when you watch a film, it's just like, oh fuck, I don't need this.
Takes you on a ride. Yeah. So yeah, big film, big year for Leo doing Scorsese and Nolan in the same year.
He's
what's his better film, Inception or Shutter Island?
I would be more inclined to say Shutter Island. because although I understood Inception, I think it's a kind of weird issue I have with Nolan's films. I think they seem a bit up their own arse.
What, Nolan films?
Nolan films. He knows that not everyone's going to get it, and that's fine. And it's kind of rewarding when you do get it because it's really in depth and complex and detailed. But like with Shutter Island, it's complex and there's layers to it, but it's clear to the viewer what's happening, but it's really in depth and a complex film and plot at the same time. Like Scorsese is just a master at that.
Yeah.
But I think I prefer that because they are very similar films in many ways. But don't you think Nolan films are just a little bit?
It's what I was saying. It's what I was saying last week about people saying to me, Chris, you'll know like Inception, you'll probably not get it. You know what I mean? No one said that to me about Shutter Island. You know,
no one says it to you about a Scorsese or Tarantino. Well, actually, a lot of people didn't get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but
that's Tarantino after years and years of filmmaking and refining his style and stuff. You know, so what do you think in terms of like the similarities between Inception and Shutter Island? Then is it really just because it's Leo? He's having dreams and flashbacks and stuff. Like what connected them to you?
Well, it's Leo. He's having dreams, and he has a dead wife who he has this fixed memory of that isn't her entire being, but just this one aspect of her, which makes the wife seem very severe and one-dimensional because he has this one memory of her, which is just the same in both films. It's his idea of reality and your idea of reality as a viewer getting blurred and not quite understanding what is reality and what's not. It's the same with both films.
What about the scene where when he goes and you see him talking to his wife after she had drowned the kids and he runs into the water to try and save them? Oh my God, what a scene.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's totally Manchester by the Sea stuff right there. But what did you think? Which one did you prefer?
I think when I finished watching both, I preferred Inception. But, you know, since sitting on it and stuff, I know I totally get what you mean about it being a bit kind of like too much sometimes. But I think Inception would have been harder to make. You know what I mean? Almost like appreciated it a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know? And this, again, my experience of this wasn't the best. Although I did enjoy the film. I was a bit... When I was watching Inception, I was more excited. When I was watching Shutter Island, I was like, oh my God, this is heavy, bro. Like, I think, so maybe on that case, I do prefer Inception. That being said, though, I do prefer Scorsese's films to Nolan's films, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm, I get you. And it's also this thing, like, the things we're going to put in the freezer of this tier system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, since we've established that I think the freezer is a holy grail and should be treated with care. And only a few films are going to get in there.
Yeah, like a top 10 of all time list or something.
Right. Or, yeah, films that change your life. What films, like, are really... If we were in LA doing a weird on-the-cuff trip and we went to see Shutter Island at the Cinerama Dome, and it blew our minds when we got the twist together in the cinema with loads of other people there, it would probably be one of our favorite films of all time because of the whole thing. It feeds into your... We've talked about this so much. It feeds into your experience of the film. I don't think... I haven't had this yet, certainly since lockdown. Watching a film for the first time at home just to watch a film can be great, and we do it because we love it, but can it give you those life-changing, unbelievable experiences that going out and watch a film at the cinema with all the other things that go into being out and in the outside world and experience? Can it change your life? Can it go in the freezer? Will anything go in the freezer?
I think it can, but right now it's extremely more difficult.
Yes. There's
more films have the opportunity to do that when we're back to normality. But right now, it's really going to need to be something, you know? We've watched lots of great films since we started back in 2021 with The Good Bit, but none of them have been like, these are life-changing films. No. But if we had seen Raiders in 1981, or whenever it came out, in the cinema together, that might have blew our minds, you know?
It would have. That's another thing of being a thing of the time. But I get you. And like...
But like Inception is a film of this time. If we had saw that together in the cinema, would it have totally changed our lives?
Or I even mean, and maybe not necessarily when it's coming out, just the experience. Like if we went to the Cinerama Dome tomorrow and Shutter Island was screening because it was an
anniversary or something,
like it could potentially be one of our favorite films of all time. Like if we next week we're going to do Hateful Eight because it's the Tarantino that neither of us have seen. We've watched every other Tarantino. We're going to watch Tarantino. It's on Netflix. Let's go. We'd probably put it in the fridge. We have a great time. It's a Tarantino, but it might be a bit long, and maybe you had to stop it halfway and watch the rest of it on a Sunday morning. It's not going to blow your mind.
Right.
But it's one of our favorite films of all time because of
what happened. Saw it on like day of release in a weird cinema together with Ewan, had drinks, sat on sofas like after college. Like that's a memory that will stay with me for a long time. So because of that, Hateful Eight is one of my favorite films. You know?
Yeah, because these films are like designed to, elicit emotion and get your imagination going and all that. And you can still do that from the comfort of your own home when you're in lockdown with nothing going on, when you're just with your family. But that whole thing is just like times 10 when you've got other things going on in your life that feed into it in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. But you also need to remember that on The Good Bit, we're not just watching films for the first time every week. You know, so if we do the Hateful Eight together on this, we might not have that amazing experience that we had the first time when we watch it. We'll probably talk about things that didn't quite live up to expectations and stuff, but it's still staying in the freezer.
Oh, for sure.
You know, if we watch Revenge of the Sith, or if we watch, you know, what are some of our favorite films we love, like Star Wars and anything else like that, the film's just going to go in the freezer regardless, you know. But if we watch it Shutter Island for the first time,
a new movie. I don't know. Can a new movie in this point in time during this lockdown? Obviously, it's not going to go on forever. But at this point in time, I'm not sure if a new movie can go in the fridge for me.
No, can go in the freezer.
Sorry, freezer. Yes, because Shutter Island and Inception were so good, and they're totally my kind of films. But I'm not shaken to the core.
Right. But you might have been if we had the experience. Is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood one of your favourite films?
Yeah. It really is. I loved that film. And
is it because of is part of it the experience, or is just you love the film?
I don't know.
Not that it was a really special experience necessarily. I was just with you, but like I mean, it was like on release day and the cinema was packed and stuff. You know, like
no, it was a great experience. Of watching it in the cinema is doing something different. Already,
even the next day,
even without special circumstances, just watching a film in the cinema is just completely different.
Yeah, it's the best.
But yeah, I don't know had I watched it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for the first time in lockdown at home
in two parts,
potentially in two parts. Would it be one of my favorite films? I don't know. I really suspect not.
Right?
I really suspect not. That doesn't mean I wouldn't like it. It means I'd probably love it. This is a brilliant film. But would I feel that connection with it? I don't know.
Have you watched it since?
Yeah, I went to see it again in cinema.
But I mean, have you watched it at home?
No, I'd have to get the DVD. I don't think it's on.
I wonder how it would change, because I've watched it at home and I equally loved it. I mean, it wasn't as special, but like because we didn't see the cinema, but like I still thought this is genius. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We talked about Shutter Island for about 16 minutes, but there you go.
Well, yeah, it opened up
nothing else to say, really. We both really enjoyed it, you know?
It opened up a discussion about, we're watching these brilliant films, one after the other, at home in lockdown by ourselves most of the time. And I don't know, it's just...
Are we getting that full appreciation, you know?
That's what Shutter Island and Inception have brought up for me. And I think that's interesting to talk about.
Right, okay, thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, everybody, and watching if you're using the YouTube version of the podcast. And tune in next time on another film discussion here on the Good Bit Pod. And again, as we always say, if you know any podcast fans in your life, if you know any film fans in your life, if you know people who like Leonardo DiCaprio and thought-provoking movies, share the Good Bit Podcast, share myself and Aaron's voices that we've chatted too much about today with your friends, your family, and your pets. And if they enjoy it, then it's great. Leave us a review, spread the word, post about it on social media. We will be here for the foreseeable here on the Good Bit Podcast, and you can get us on social media. Twitter and Instagram is at the Good Bit Pod. So until next time, folks, take care of yourselves. We'll see you all then.
Citizens